right, good morning. Time for another robo ride. So we're running in 12.5.6.4. This is the newest iteration that's gone wide. We're waiting for a holiday update and version 13 still. That has not gone wide yet. It's been about out for 2 weeks with the beta testers. So us regular people do not receive that yet. I've been watching more documentaries on the drones that have been appearing above New Jersey, etc. I didn't know these actually started. The first documented drone swarm was over was it Langley or Norfolk bases starting in October of 2023. And there's not. We tried to follow them back then to no avail. They even used that NASA plane to try and see where they go, but nobody really. They lost track of them. And then it seems like pretty much radio silence. And then they started popping up again this year, but this time in multiple locations and in far more frequency. Because of rules of engagement, the military can't just shoot them down over the U.S. airspace. Then on top of that, well, what the heck do you do if you're dropping a large commercial style drone? It's going to kill a lot of, it's going to fall down on urban populations. So what's there? There's more interesting factoids. And the problem, also another one, is that a lot of drones do appear over military bases or near them, and they don't really do much about it it's a lot of resources to burn when it's just one-off drone, and it's usually, they'll probably just finding some teenager flying a hobby drone, and they're like, okay, we just dispatched 2 F-16s to find some kid flying a DJI drone or Phantom, whatever it is, over, they just lost track of it, or, oh, sorry, what are you going to do, ruin the teenager's life, charge him with felony, interfering with the blah, 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 blah. Probably not. That would be heavy-handed enforcement. And there was no mens rea or guilty mind in that situation when it's just one kid flying a drone. This is different. It's 10 to 50 drones. They're in a formation, and someone definitely knows where they're flying over. So that was interesting. I was watching another program on Wall Street Journal about FSD, about the NHTSA investigations. I think it's kind of, the investigations take years, and they're updating the software at a feverish pace. So by the time the investigation comes up with even a conclusion, you're already 20 software updates ahead. And there's the case where a car was driving and it just plowed into an overturned semi-truck, and I could see it. The conclusion from that article, or that little video snippet on Wall Street Journal, was, the cars aren't equipped with LiDAR or any kind of radar. It's vision only. The driver was given 19 warnings prior to that accident to please pay attention. That's where, on screen you see here, if the computer, in a sense, thinks you're looking off to the distance so you don't touch the steering wheel when it requests, it gives you little steering wheel hands. Hey, come on, dude, pay attention. You're supposed to be present, or just looking out the window. We're no longer required to even though you were supposed to have your hand on the wheel, it was stupid in a sense, because it's the before attention monitoring. That's where this camera is looking at you. When you read the little on-screen thing, it says, have hand. I think it was, I don't remember the rules, but by definition, it said you had to have your hand on the wheel. Well, if it's making a turn or something like that, you're not driving the car, so you're going to accidentally just kick it out of FSD. So you're just going to have your hands here on your lap. That's how you were supposed to use it. Oftentimes, I'm willing to bet people had their cell phone out, they weren't paying attention, they were texting, and because the car was driving, and they totally weren't paying attention, And the car misjudged a stopped object on the freeway. So an overturned semi-truck with now no lights on is really hard to see at night until they come into headlight view. And by the time the car started veering and made a decision, and it was already too late. These are unfortunate cases, but let's be frank, people hit deer all the time. People hit cars all the time that are in the similar situation. So it's not easy to see an overturned or stalled vehicle. So that car busted through. The person was on a cell phone too, but so it went past the stop line, and our car reacted to, oh, is this person going to jut out in the road? That's logic internally. So they didn't perform that NHTSA stop. But it's where humans would actually stop. So you see there's like stop signs here. They're so far back that most drivers, and nobody enforces it if you stop somewhere in the sidewalk line, which is okay because, well, they put the stop sign where you have dirt and the stop line, which they're not really in ideal positions anyway. Okay, so you actually get a double stop with a Tesla. It stops at the line arbitrarily, then stops again where you're kind of more, you have a better field of view of stopping, or to actually see what's going on in the road. And the majority of human drivers will just go to where you can actually safely look left and right and see. The one thing I will say that I always have trouble with stop signs on a cross section like this is many bicyclists, they don't follow the rules of the road, so they're always bicycling in the wrong direction, or not always, but very rarely. So they're coming onwards, so they'd be biking towards me on this lane against the arrow, and if they're on a hill, well, when you do that final head check left, and then you're like, okay, it's clear, because there's no reasonable way that a pedestrian could, even the world's fastest runner cannot clear that distance, but a person on a bicycle, 100%. And so what's the procedure? You get to the intersection, you quickly glance this way, you glance left, okay, you do your final left, okay, and then you're just monitoring the left direction, okay, waiting for the little hole, and then you head check right, and then you go back left, waiting for that car to pass. You're going, great, I'm going to turn right, and then boom. Inevitably, someone is going to hit one of these bicyclists because they're traveling so quickly down a hill that they can crest it and move against traffic so quickly that they're going to get creamed. And I don't know if the Tesla has an advantage that it always has it doesn't have a head. Its field of view is 8 cameras. My field of view is 2 eyes and a head. So, I don't know, much to be discussed. I feel that in the past few updates, it's really starting to come together. I got this car before 12.3.6, or before attention monitoring was a thing. That's when you had to touch the steering wheel, and FSD was definitely not as smooth. It had the wiggles. It had problems making decisions, and all of those have been smoothed out over the last 6 months. Like, I haven't driven the wrong way down an intersection in quite some time, or the wrong way down a one-way. Those are always fun, but that hasn't happened in a long time. And yes, should we have been monitoring that? Yes, but also it can sometimes make a turn so quickly when there's no especially when there's no vehicles there to go off of, so it won't turn right into a one-way if there's no car. If there are cars there, there weren't cars there. It's just I knew there was a one-way, and then all of a sudden, it turned. I thought I was going to take the next street, and it made the turn in this one-way, and I'm like, okay. Thankfully, you're able to disengage and quickly turn around. Nobody gets hurt or anything. But those investigations are likely based off of that really old circumstances, and those circumstances aren't appearing anymore, especially in the last 6 months. And we'll see a huge drive in performance over the next 6 months now that as Cortex is building and building and building. They're at 130 megawatts right now of power consumption, and it's going to go to 500. So basically 4.5 times the compute that you currently have online will be available, 4 times the compute. in who knows if they're going to stop at 500 megawatts, because they could just build another facility, whatever they deem fit, and how much they're going to need with the new FSD hardware coming down the pipeline in a few months. So by mid 2025, we should start seeing AI 5 start appearing in cars, most probably in the Model S and X first. And nobody knows what's in store there. That we just know it's coming with basically 1,000 watts of compute, or the equivalent of an NVIDIA H100 according to Elon. Again, I do not know how they're going to stick a $30,000 computer chip. Now, granted, by then, their NVIDIA's on the newer chip, so that chip might be coming down in price, or whatever is the equivalent, because they don't need, per se, that powerful of a GPU, but they do need the inference. So, and we don't know how many cameras or inputs the system is going to have. So I'm guessing you're going to definitely see an improvement in the cameras, and you're going to see an improvement in possibly, if I were Garner to say, generally you need, just like a human, you need 2 cameras or 2 eyes to visualize depth. So the front of the car here has 2, and you have the repeaters on the side, 2 on each side, but we're missing ones in the forward and rear bumpers and 2 in the back. So I would guess that you're going to stick 1, 2, 3, 4, I don't know, maybe 4 additional cameras and bring that up to 12 cameras system. So now that you have 12 cameras in the car, you have to process all of that data. And then plus maybe a little bit of a radar in the front. Now, it's not going to be LiDAR, or they have the Phoenix radar in the Model, I think, S and X. I don't know how useful it actually is or what they're doing with it, but as time moves on and the price of the radar systems comes down, so like with Waymo and things like that, if you're taking a commercial vehicle, let's say $80,000 Jaguar, and then you're stuffing another 150 grand in hardware in it, is that really viable? No. You're just going to hire a human to sit in the car for $40,000 a year, like Uber, basically. So, that's my 2 cents on the matter. Thank you for joining me on another robo ride here in our Tesla FSD software. We are nearing our destination. I'm going to go for a walk under these power lines, the power line trail, with my dad, and enjoy the sun a little bit. We don't want to park in the school, we want to park right here. See, it's gotten very good at starting to guess where the curb is. Where before you'd get curb rash because this, let's say, when I first got this car in April, it was not as accurate as it is today.